Brothers and sisters in VR. A cursory glance through Steam after searching the letters V and R will reveal the most relevant, highly acclaimed VR games to date. Among them are some of the greatest VR experiences I personally have ever had. These games span across a litany of genres: shooters, blade sims, flight sims, RPGs, rhythm games, puzzlers, horrors, etc., and dare I say, etc. But what if I were to tell you, using the old trope, that there are three things that they all have in common? The three elements, when implemented correctly, separate a VR game from a great VR game. If you think you know what they are, feel free to write your answers in the comments. But like a typical YouTube dick desperate for watch time, I'm not going to tell you, but instead make you wait to the end of the video for the conclusion of my ramblings. There are only three senses that VR can stimulate in us without prototype haptic technology or that weird vape tech smell-o-vision thing the world wasn't ready for. The first is obviously sight. Hold on, don't click away yet. I swear I am going somewhere with this. For a VR game to be a place we want to keep coming back to, the environment doesn't have to be cool or epic or scary. It just needs to be a place we like hanging out in. Someplace engaging. Be it an alien planet, a fantasy world, a battlefield, or just the old familiar cockpit. I can easily traipse through Skyrim for hours at a time. Well, after a few 100 changes. Granted, nostalgia plays a part here because Skyrim was my all-time second favorite game. But the visual cornucopia of utter fucking splendor that you take in at every turn keeps me coming back. It's a genuinely great place to hang out in. Hell, I have spent hundreds of hours in the cockpit of my Diamondback Explorer, hurtling myself across the Milky Way in search of adventures and space cash. Or in my faithful yet fragile as matchsticks TIE Fighter, in service to my glorious empire. These are places I genuinely enjoy being, and looking at the Steam reviews, several thousand people feel the same way. A VR game needs to be a place we want to go to, either in search of adventure, through morbid curiosity, or just a great place to momentarily step into and be a living, breathing part of. And it would all be a confusing hellhole of randomness without sound design. Visuals are great. Hell, that's why art as a concept has been around for at least 100 years. But good sound design is the other half of the yingus yangus that makes a game playable. Shitty graphics equals shitty graphics, whose blanks can be filled in with imagination. But shitty sound turns this guy into whatever the hell your mind puts in its place. Wow! Hell, Half Life Alyx being the visual storytelling masterpiece that it is, brought to us by our Lord, Savior, and purveyor of video games. Spent more time on sound design for this game than EA did sacrificing virgins to dark entities for the rights necessary to run Battlefront into the ground.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
The point is, a game is only as good as its ability to transfer its creator's vision to the player. Sound is what brings that compelling world we keep coming back to life. A good combination of sight and sound create the third sense. The sense that keeps a virtual world alive. The sense of wonder. Yay! Some guy on the internet I've never heard of has put into words what we all already knew. But am I wrong? Drop me in a game that looks like an engaging, at the very least, neat place to hang out in. Sounds like what I am seeing is actually happening, And bam! BAM! We have the groundwork for something great. So yeah, element 1. Engagement of the senses. Sense-gagement, if you will. And what is a cool visual with great sound design? A video. That is a video. Yes, we have established something extremely obvious at the expense of your time and my sanity. My apologies. But having eaten the complimentary hot bread that gives you gas right as your entree arrives...
Now it's time for the meat!
The mechanics. The most visually stunning game with the most killer sound design and crappy, poorly thought out game mechanics will have all the qualities of the misguided hipster generation. All style and no substance. Hell, if your mechanics are good enough, visuals and sound can take a back seat. Minecraft is the #1 best-selling game of all time for a reason.
Frog.
Consumer available VR being the more recent development that it is, we accept a certain level of jank. You know what I mean. The shakiness, losing your hands, in-game hands not being perfectly oriented. Things like that. That aspect will only get better with time on the hardware side and with experience on the developer side. Look at it this way. Unless your game is marketed as a 360-degree video, you aren't selling your gorgeous visuals or awesome sound quality. You're selling your mechanics. What you can actually do in the game. The engineering of these mechanics, be they on purpose or a gift from the programming gods during development, is what really separates an okay game from something wonderful and memorable that I want to give to my future kids. If there is one area in which a VR game needs to be strong, it is in functioning mechanics. Let me pick my nose, throw a toaster, or twirl a pistol on my finger. In those quiet moments between swashbuckling action and badass pistoleering, my ability to quote-unquote fuck with shit is one of the deciding factors in how I view a game. It is no longer point A to point B. It is now a living, breathing world. In VR, we are simultaneously freed and trapped by the use of our controllers. Menus and inventories are a nightmare, unless they are not. Mouse and keyboard and even gamepads make menus and inventories a breeze. Historically, through a pause function, and I have seen that in a few VR games. But too often, pulling up a menu just means you get murdered while scrolling. Everyone's favorite whipping game even pauses things while you get yourself sorted out via 1,000 wheels of cheese. This is the selling point. What I can do in this world aside from look around at all the wonderful visuals and cry at the beauty of the sound design. If you want all the mechanics ever imagined, or just a few, to make the game something more than a 360-degree interactive video, for the love of His Holiness, they need to work. If there is only one thing to spend time on in the development process, the mechanics need to work. So we have established 2 of the 3 elements that make a VR game great, abstract though they may be. But it gets so much worse. The final linchpin in a game's staying power and replayability is arguably the most important aspect. It can be an absolutely gorgeous game, have sound quality worthy of the great John Williams, and through the tears of all this splendor, I have the ability to shove my in-game finger up my in-game nose. But why would I want to do that? Why would I want to spend my free time crying into my headset and plunging the depths of my in-game nasal cavity? One word. Reason. This answer is twofold. You can have one, the other, or preferably both. The first half of said reason is challenge. I want to beat the system, top the obstacles the devs throw at me, and come out on top. A goal I can chase, conquer, and get that dopamine high. Challenge takes the game from a concept piece to a freaking experience. Compounding challenges are what made this game into a household name synonymous with challenge. I get the short-lived thrills of being a rootin'-tootin', gun-blading, spell-wielding badass that can end life with a flick of the wrist. But that gets so old, so fast. I want to feel like I'm living on the ragged edge of disaster. One false step to either side and game over. The second aspect is one very near and dear to my heart, and is my favorite aspect of such games that wish to implement it. Story. Now I'm going to say something that runs afoul of everything my heart tells me, yet my mind knows to be true. Story isn't everything. Story is not necessary. It is my absolute favorite aspect of video games. If you can nail the story in an epic and appealing way, I'll buy your stuff regardless of visuals, sound, mechanics, and challenge. Tell me a good story and let me live it. And we are in business, baby. But I am not so naive to think that everyone feels the same way. Hell, I can follow the adventures of a differently colored pixel on a black screen if the story is there.
Fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants.
But one game proved otherwise to me. A little-known VR masterpiece of epic proportions. Combining awesome visuals, hair-raising audio, flawless mechanics, and a challenge I still have not surmounted. Airborne. This game has absolutely zero story, and I love it to death. This is the pinnacle of fun through simplicity. Your tasks are simple. Shoot, fly, survive. That is all. This is the game that hammered home to me that a single-player game, where me and my buddies are not making our own fun, does not need a story to be enjoyable. But oh, what a good story can do. Make me give a damn about my character, or the heaven-sent blessings killing shit by my side, and god damn it have you got my attention. Come to think of it, maybe the real game mechanic is the friends we made along the way.
It was about justice, about doing what's right, and that act of goodness, that's ours.
We can disobey suicidal orders. Why wasn't I told?
I'm good at shooting people, cracking wise, and pretending to know how to fight with my hands.
It's a shame they didn't keep it a friendly fight. Some people have no stomach for using their fists when they have a weapon at hand.
Okay, sheesh. Try to offer some constructive criticism, and this is the thanks I get?
And then, after I had welded the spring-mounted mechanical shield on my codpiece, I fired it.
That's reason enough for me to take you up on it, I suppose, but this isn't gonna end well.
Using the tools of deception and manipulation will lead you to the dark side.
I see I still have much to learn. If you'd permit me, I'd be honored to accompany you in your travels for a time.
Answer. There are a lot of politicians on Coruscant, Master. I could spend decades slaughtering them and still not make a dent.
I hear you found some thing in Sartor. You think it could help make me a powerful mage?
Victor Solomon. This would be the part where you introduce yourself.
I'm really glad you came when you did. Wasn't really sure how I'd get out of that one.
I was hoping we could bring him home. You'd let me have a giant sprat, right, Captain? So long as I fed it?
The point is, a compelling story can only add to a game. Make it memorable. Really punch me in the heart. Tie my emotions to challenging nose-picking in a beautiful setting with amazing audio, and god damn it do we have a game on our hands. And in conclusion, the three elements of a good VR game are sense-gagement, mechanics, and a damn good reason to play. To those of you who stuck around to the end, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next one.